This podcast discusses real-life experiences that may include topics such as grief, trauma, medical or mental health challenges, and other emotionally sensitive content. Please take care of yourself while listening, and if at any point in the conversation you feel overwhelmed, it's okay to pause, step away, or skip this episode entirely. While some of our guests are licensed professionals, the Holiday Survival Podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical, psychological, or therapeutic advice. If you are struggling or need support, please reach out to a qualified healthcare provider or mental health professional. Now, let's begin. The holidays can be the most wonderful time of the year, or they can literally be the worst. That's why I'm bringing back the Holiday Survival Podcast, the show that gets real about a season that isn't always merry and bright. If the holidays bring up stress, grief, pressure, complicated family dynamics, or just big emotions, you are in the right place. My name is Erin Billings, and I am your host. In each episode, we'll have honest conversations, share practical tools, and offer hope for anyone navigating the messy, beautiful, and emotional reality of this time of the year. No forced cheer, no sugarcoating, just real stories, real support, and reminders that you are not alone. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Hello, thank you so much for being here. I am so excited to bring you the Holiday Survival Podcast. This is a podcast that I started back in 2023, and it was a huge hit because not enough people are saying the quiet part out loud, which is the holidays can really suck sometimes. I know it's easy to go through the social media highlight reel and see all of the family pictures and all of the friends and parties and awesome food and great trips and cool gifts. All of those things are great, but I'm sorry, but not all of it is real. People only post what they want you to see, and the highlight reel is it. So I wanted to bring awareness through this podcast series that, you know what? Sometimes we're going through things during the holidays and they get exponentially worse. So how do you navigate that? And then you add into the mix that socially and politically, things are a little bit chaotic. And that's the part where I'm just kind of sitting here scratching my head, kind of like, what is going on here? I love my family. We get along great, but not everybody agrees on the same thing all the time. And that's just going to be the case in life. Nobody's ever going to believe the same thing. And so when it comes to the holidays, there's a lot of time that we are spending together, and it can feel like you're walking on eggshells. And so I want to encourage you through this series that it's okay to not believe the same as everyone around you. It is okay to have an exit plan, an exit strategy. It is okay to say no. It is okay to have boundaries. It is okay to communicate those boundaries with care and kindness, but enforce them well. It is okay to not subject your children to people that you believe are harmful. It is okay to not go outside of your budget for gifts for people and to only spend what you have. It is okay to not buy for every single person in your life. My hope is that this podcast gives you glimmers of hope so that you know that you can get through the holiday season and actually thrive because you have put those boundaries in place, because you've said no, because you stuck to the budget that you knew that you could afford, because you're in the middle of a government shutdown and you don't have the budget that you once had, or because you lost your job. I want to give you that permission slip. Something that I learned when I was going through some of my worst Christmases over the past couple of years was the only way out is through. And you might be thinking, this doesn't sound high vibe, good energy. Yeah, it's just the truth. Sometimes the only way out is through. Sometimes you get knocked down and you're going to have to dust yourself off and you're going to have to pick yourself up again. You might get knocked back a few steps, but you still have to continue to move forward. That is the only way out of whatever challenging situation you might find yourself in. And during the holidays, it seems like everything is exponentially harder whenever you're already going through something that's challenging. And then you open your phone and all you see is the social media highlight reels that everyone's posting. All of the lovely trips and the cool gifts and the new cars and the new houses and the picture perfect family get-togethers. And some of that is cool and some of that is real and I'm happy for them. But whenever you're going through a rough time, sorry, but I don't want to see that crap. Like, I know that sounds terrible to say. I'm saying the quiet part out loud right now. When you are going through a challenging situation, sometimes you just got to feel your feelings. You have to feel your feelings. If you suppress them, if you bury them, if you put it in a drawer and say you'll deal with it on another day, you never actually get back to that drawer and open the drawer and actually address those things until that drawer is overflowing with other crap. I'm telling you because I know this from personal experience. I'm the person who did not know that they had emotions for about 35 years, and I operated pretty much like a robot. I'm not like that anymore because I went through a massive healing journey, but unpacking that drawer of emotions and stuckness, it is not the easiest thing in the world. But to give you a little bit of hope, I got through on the other side. It only took me about 3 years, but I got there. And now I'm able to help produce something like this series, in a way that hopefully for those of you that have not gone through that proverbial drawer, you can start to unpack some of those things through the content that we're about to be sharing in this podcast series. Something that I did whenever I was going through my rough Christmases was I would look for little glimmers of hope in the small things. And for me, I was broke because I was scammed at Christmas time and my account was negative thousands of dollars because of my former employer's scam. And I was in the middle of litigation. It was a nightmare. It was a total disaster. And I found myself nearly homeless. Thank God for my family. I don't know what I would have done. And it's really hard to be in the holiday spirit when the crap hits the fan in your life. But what I had to do that Christmas and the following 2 Christmases after that, because it really did take me a while to rebuild my life, I would look for positive things in small places. There were things that I wanted to do that I would have normally done whenever I had money, and I couldn't do those. Like, I couldn't go shopping and buy all the gifts that I wanted to buy the way that I used to. And so I would look at making things for people. I would make music. I would make songs. I would make videos. I would do things that were personalized that I could make myself, that what limited budget I had, I was able to create something for someone that meant something to them. And I would have fun doing it because I would put my heart into it. Another thing that you can do when you are going through a challenging holiday season is you can look to create new traditions. Something that we're going to talk a lot about in this podcast series is how to navigate trauma whenever it's associated with the holidays or when it's kind of exacerbated during the holidays. And something that I've found that whenever your trauma is so closely connected to the holidays, like mine was, I had to find new traditions that I could create for myself so that I could have new things to connect my brain to the holidays with rather than the old. And so some of the new traditions that I created was I will go and serve. I like to serve at homeless shelters. I like to serve at food banks, cancer centers, wherever I can help, I try to. Because for whatever reason, serving others always puts me in the spirit of gratitude. And I've just found that that is something that works for me. For you, it might be something else. I have also seen where you can do things with your family or with your friends. A lot of people want to go out and spend a lot of money on experiences with their friends, but whenever you're broke, like I was, I couldn't do that. So I would find fun, free events that everybody could bring their friends, their family, the more the merrier kind of thing. Something that I found was the tree lighting ceremonies. I always enjoyed those as a musician because I would play at them a long time ago. And now I don't play at those types of events anymore. So I actually just like going because there's something special about it. It's a free community event. They'll have music. They'll likely have vendors and you can buy little gifts and all that kind of stuff. And there was just a fun holiday atmosphere that you could go in and participate, and it's free. In my hometown, they called it Tuba Christmas, and they would have a sing-along, and they would have music, and it would be fun for the family. I would go to things like that, or sometimes you can go ice skating, or you can go tubing or sledding if you've got snow. You know, my family's up north, so there's plenty of snow, but down here in North Carolina where I live now, we might have one snow a year. And if it was on Christmas, I would be shocked. But all that being said, you can find things to do outside. Sometimes there will be ice skating that you can do. I don't recommend going on some random pond because I don't want you to fall through the ice if it's not thick enough. But some of these parks, they turn their little facilities into ice rinks during the holidays, and it's really cute. And I love that. There's so many different things that you can do. You can actually look on Reddit. I have found Reddit to be a great resource. I actually saw a post yesterday in the Raleigh, North Carolina sub, and they were talking about if you don't have a place to go for your holiday meals on Thanksgiving and on Christmas, several people have opened up their homes for transplants to go and participate in a meal. And I thought, wow, I love that because I'm the kind of person, I didn't spend my Christmases with my family for years because I was doing music as a living and I couldn't make it home in time for Christmas. So I would spend Christmas with my friends and I would go over to their house and spend it with them and their kids. And we had a great time. We had great food and I love them. And I'm so thankful that I got those experiences with them. But I've also spent Christmas in my bedroom during COVID. That's a long story, but I was on a Christmas tour and over 60 people on the tour ended up getting COVID. So we ended up having to go home and I had to quarantine for the entire holiday because I was so sick. I had COVID and pneumonia that year. That was rough. But all that being said, when you can find outlets to go and celebrate the holidays, even if your family's not around, even if you've gone no contact and you're single like me and you're like, I just don't want to be alone on Christmas, there are things that you can do. There are outlets that you can find. You just got to do a little bit of research. And like I said, that Raleigh subreddit, I was really impressed whenever I saw that. And so I'm sure that every city has their own version of that. Go and scour and see what's going on in your area and how you can participate. My apartment, they're having a Friendsgiving later this month, and I'm going to go just because I want to get to know more people. Also, it's a good way to make new friends and get to know people in your area, especially if you're like me, where you don't have family in the city that you live in. So that's just a few things that I've done to kind of give myself a reason to enjoy the holidays. The last thing that I want to talk about just briefly is don't suffer through the holidays alone. Like I just mentioned, you can go to all those events. You could find a church or a community group to participate in, but sometimes you need a little bit more support when it comes to mental health, especially if you are going through some really challenging depression, anxiety, or if you have some really bad family dynamics and relationship dynamics that you need to work through. please find a mental health counselor, a therapist, someone that you can talk to that has actual credentials. Sometimes that kind of help, especially because it's unbiased, it's going to help you to understand what you're going through. It might give you a language to communicate. Half the time when I go to therapy, it's like, okay, this is how I'm feeling. Can you help me put this into words so that I can help communicate this better to the people in my life, so that it gives me a language to have a conversation with that person that I might be going through a rough time with. Therapy has been such a huge thing for me personally in the past, I would say 5 years. Like I said, before I didn't know what emotions were. Now I do. Now I can label them. I know them when they come up. I know how to handle them. I know how to handle my nervous system whenever I go into a state of freeze, because I lived in functional freeze for about 35 years as well. Now I have a pretty healthy nervous system, but it's because I found support. And I know that it's not always easy, but finding support in your area that you can talk to someone real life and in person, and they can help you learn how to communicate and to go through what you might be experiencing, there's nothing better. If money is an issue and you do not have access to mental health support through your insurance, I will definitely make sure to put some resources in the show notes that you can check out, because I think that the holidays is a time where some of these emotional difficulties can become heightened, and having that additional layer of support can be such a blessing during this particular time. So head to the show notes and I will have some links there for you to check out. But this podcast series is going to be such a good resource for you. Please share it with your friends. If you know someone is going through a rough time, please share an episode that you think might help them through their situation. And then also, if you go to our website, holidaysurvivalpodcast.com, we have our first season episodes there and available for you to listen to as well. So there's plenty already created. You can go to that website and check out those episodes. And then we're going to be releasing new episodes weekly through New Year's. There will be something for everybody. I created this podcast in a way that it's not for just one particular audience. It's very generalized. It's for everyone. Now, I will say there will be some episodes that you might not resonate with as much. I'll give you an example. I have a huge Christian family. They will likely not listen to the episode with the psychic. And you know what? That's okay. I have a large part of my following that are super spiritual and woo-woo, and they love it. This series was created to be for a generalized audience. So every single episode may not be for you, but I guarantee you there will be at least one episode that was created just for you. So find that episode, listen to it, share it with a friend. I'm excited because this season is going to be awesome, and I cannot wait for you to hear all of the amazing guests that I have lined up. Here's a taste of what you're going to be hearing this season on the Holiday Survival Podcast.
The holidays in general are really emotionally charged in so many different directions, right? We have nostalgia working for us. There's also these pieces of unmet expectations for ourselves by others, of other people. Challenging relationships kind of come into play, and this societal pressure to be happy, be joyful, be okay. It's the holiday season. 'Tis the season, right? And this is what society suggests that we should be feeling. And so this contrast can somehow kind of bring up and bubble up these hidden emotions that grief, sadness, anxiety, overwhelm. I like to call them lower vibrational, but they're just all emotions, right? But these feelings that we're not really comfortable with having them have a seat at the table for the holidays, but are actually going to come forward whether you're ready for them or not.
We have to learn to detach our worth from wealth. And it is huge in our society where we tie wealth with our worth. So if we can detach our wealth from our worth and realize that we're not less loving because we give differently or because we can't give the big gifts. If we can do that, I think that will give us more peace of mind. So we have to start again with shifting how we think about the holiday. Redefine generosity, redefine what the holidays mean, redefine how we celebrate the holidays, and realize that the heart behind the gift matters more than the receipt.
Thank you for listening to the Holiday Survival Podcast. If this episode helped you feel a little bit more seen, supported, or sane during the holidays, it would mean so much if you'd leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and tap the 5-star rating on Spotify. It's a simple way to help more people find the show, and it truly makes a difference. For resources, links, and next steps from today's episode, just check out our show notes and be sure to click the follow button on whatever platform you're listening to this on so that you never miss an episode from this season. Remember, you don't have to navigate the holidays alone. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode.